suffer unnecessarily at the hands of somebody else. So um, that damage that took place, I used to have dates in my head, but I'm getting kind of, I'm over 50 now, so, but I'm going to do my homework. But that damage that took place in this nation being, like I said, basically just cut up in little pieces, just like if I had a knife right now, cutting it up, divvying it up, and taking it over. That damage caused a lot of damage that we're still dealing with today. So anyway, I did not know when I was in school that that was the process. I was just told things like, colored people are, they were slaves. They came over on slave ships. It's their lot to have those chains and shackles on them. And I don't know why anybody's arguing the point. I kind of grew up with a mentality and a mindset that educated me like that. And I, as an adult, learned that all that was wrong. It was not right. And I, as an adult, have to do the work to free myself of all that oppressive internalization that I've done around these misinformed intentions and facts. Like, the truth of the matter is, this land was divvied up and stolen, and the people were stolen and used for the gain of another group. That's it in a nutshell. And so my work today is making sure that I don't continue to exercise damaging behaviors that I've learned as a result of this process. So it behooves us as African Americans to have a map of Africa in our house. Our children are in school systems that are not educating them properly about who we are, what we do, how we do it, and how much we have in us. So if you can imagine, this is who we are, and this is what we're made of as a people. A group of people come in, take us in chains and shackles, put us on these ships. We travel thousands of miles on a ship to another country. And the miracle, the real miracle of the whole process is when we get to this land, we are still breathing. We are still breathing. We are still breathing. We still know our language. We still know who we are. We still know what our parents and our grandparents taught us. We still know our systems. Only, unfortunately, we're in a land that is now exercising behaviors that are teaching us to not honor that. Every time we open our mouths to speak our language to each other, pieces of our tongues were cut out, pieces of our ears were cut off, fingers were cut off. Every time we tried to get away from all those chains and shackles and all of that oppression, there was some very violent, horrific act inflicted on us to get that idea out of our heads. Now, if there was ever a people who knew God, it had to be us. Because I don't know, I've never heard any other group of human beings go through anything like this. And certainly the Holocaust is a major travesty. However, the victims died. They were gassed and they died. So we instead went through this long, grueling process that was meant to destroy us, but keep us alive at the same time. It was meant to destroy our minds and our thinking processes and our spirits, but it was made to keep us physically in chains. So that whole dynamic, we're going to have, this is the beginning of a series, because we're not going to cover all this in 1 hour. However, we do have this hour. I'm not keeping good time, I didn't look at the clock when we started, but I have an hour today. But I don't believe that there's any group on this planet, anywhere, that experienced such an event. And like I said, number one was breathing when we got here. Number two, still knew how to plant, still knew how to heal, still knew how to bring forth life, still knew how to serve God, still knew how to trust God, still knew that one day, if they just kept living, things would change. So I'm going to come back to Africa in our next program and talk some more about the things, the different systems that were at work in the continent of Africa that did travel with us across the seas, in spite of the damage and in spite of the behaviors that were inflicted on us to try to make us lose who we were and who we are and what we represent. So we traveled, like I said, that in and of itself, if that ain't enough to like make us praise God and make us shout, we really are lost, and I don't believe that. I know we're not lost. And in spite of recent events, not only are we not lost, we kept praying, we kept watching, we kept fighting, we kept singing, we kept dancing, we kept shouting until we could experience, which I'll talk about a little later, that blessed event on November 4th of 2008. But I just jumped ahead, so I'm going to go back. So now we survived the ship ride over here. We were human beings. We were not slaves. We were human beings who were enslaved. Number one lesson, main lesson you need to take from this program today is, from here on out, never refer to African American people as the slaves. Please refer to us as human beings who were enslaved. Because in spite of popular belief, in spite of untrue documentation, in spite of vicious lies, we are and were human. We are human. We have always been human. We will never not be human. We were human beings who were enslaved. First lesson, write it down, tell your children, tell your grandchildren to raise their hands in class. I did it. I got a classmate here who can vouch for me. I raised my hand many a times and said, excuse me, I think the proper description was human beings who were enslaved. I even wrote a paper about it. Even got selected as best paper in the class, because I realized through my college process that that piece of the process is vital to the healing process.